boys and girls, we're going to do what we call our mentor sentence now. And we're going to do this every week. And what it is we choose a sentence from our mentor textbook, which is called The Invisible Boy. We read this story together last Friday, and we went over it this morning in reading. I picked one sentence from here so that we can learn lots of things about the words in the sentence, and we can learn how to write like good writers do and like the author did. And so what we're going to do today is choose a sentence, and we're going to, first of all, find all the things that we notice about that sentence. So let's read the sentence together. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. Do you remember that part of our story where Brian had just got done wanting to be partners with Justin? And do you remember this part of the story? And Emilio came over and took Justin and said, "I want him." And again, Brian felt invisible. Well, he wanted to draw a hole in the floor and crawl into it. That's what our mentor sentence is about. So what I would like you to do is look carefully at this sentence and tell me the types of things that you notice. Okay, so Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. So I would first ask you if you can find any nouns in the sentence. So do you remember what a noun is? A noun is a person, place, or thing. So which one of these is a noun? A person, a place, or a thing? Well, you're right. Floor is a thing. So I'm going to write floor, and I would write is a noun. Okay? So floor, what else? Brian. Brian is a person. Now Brian is not just a noun. Brian is a special kind of noun. We call that a proper noun. Anybody's name is a proper noun. That means the author thinks you're so special, you're so important, you're always going to be capitalized, and you aren't just called a noun, you're called a proper noun. Okay, Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. Do you have any more person, places, or things? I don't either. Now, can you find a word that is a verb? Who remembers what a verb is? That's right. A verb is an action word. Action means something is an action word, okay? Like hopping, jumping, skip, scream, yell, all right? So let's go over the sentence again, looking for verbs. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. All right, shout at me right now if you can find an action word there. What would it be? That's right. There is looks. So looks is a verb. And wishing is a verb. Excellent. And if we were in class, we'd be doing this together. And draw is a verb. It's an action. And swallow is an action, so that's a verb. Okay, so now we have nouns, person, place, or thing. We have verbs, which are the action words. Okay, and then we're going to look for adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe tall, thin, big, little, sweet, sour, high, low. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. I don't know about that, but I do notice that we forgot one noun, which would be a hole. A hole is a noun, it's a thing. So we're gonna put hole over here. It's a noun. And I'm not sure there's any describing words here, but I see the word him. Him, who are we talking about when we talk about him? We're talking about Brian. And so we could say, Brian looks at the floor wishing he, Brian, could draw a hole right there to swallow Brian up. So he and him are these special words called pronouns. They take the place of a noun. So him and he are pronouns. All right, boys and girls, that's all we're gonna do. On Mondays, all we do is find all the words that we could identify. Tomorrow, on Tuesday, we will do some other things. So what I want you to do today, here is your assignment, and I have written very carefully. I want you to read this out loud to yourself. Okay, do that first. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. And then you're going to do picture it. How does Brian feel during this sentence? How is he feeling? Do you remember how he was feeling right here in the book? How was he feeling? He was feeling pretty lousy, wasn't it? He was feeling very invisible. And it says, how do you know? How do you know that he was feeling invisible? Well, he wanted to draw a hole on the ground and just crawl right into that hole. So there's two questions here that you need to answer. So it says Monday, and you need to read this sentence out loud and answer these two questions. That's all you're gonna do. Stop, don't do any more, okay? All right, so this is called our mentor sentence, and I want you just to do that little part. Okay, thank you, bye-bye.